The title of my reading was Corporate Social Responsibility in the 21st Century, a View from the World's Most Successful Firms. The title does accurately describe the article. The abstract was clear and representative of the article in stating how the study was motivated by the lack of scholarship examining the content of what firms are communicating to various stakeholders about their commitment to socially responsible behaviors. It explains why the article was written and the qualitative nature of the study. It mentions the pool of sources of information from which the study was conducted, and it also mentions its thematical presentation and the content of the study's closure with implications for managers of global organizations and researchers interested in business ethics. The introduction makes the purpose of the article clear by stating that it is the shaken confidence of the public in corporate America and that the public is calling for reform and new measures are suggesting the necessity of placing CSR and the ethical behavior as practices that are embedded into company operations. The theoretical framework is described under the mention of four components of CSR: economic, legal, ethical, and discretionary or philanthropic. The economic component is about business profitability and growth. The legal component is their duty to obey the law. The ethical component is their responsibility to respect the rights of others and to meet the obligations placed on them by society that ensure these rights. The discretionary component involves action that supports the community. Stakeholder theory is a research paradigm that parallels this perspective, whereby business is deemed responsible to specific stakeholder groupings as the four components detail. Stakeholders are identified and categorized by their interest, right, claim, or ownership in an organization. Customers, employees, suppliers, and the community are nearly always considered pertinent. Stakeholder theory provides a useful framework to evaluate corporate social responsibility through social reporting activities because studies reveal that companies often report socially responsible behaviors in terms of such specific stakeholder groups. The literature review is relevant to the study. Though the title of the study mentions the 21st century, the research comes from the last couple years of the 20th century and first 5 years of the 21st century, as we are now approaching the 20th year of the century. In this sense, the research is now outdated. The methods explain how the research question was addressed through the examination of companies' self-representation of their CSR on their websites. The focus of these studies were primarily on the number of CSR statements the stakeholder groups' CSR messages were directed to and the differences in types of CSR messages across companies and nations. CSR and stakeholder issues from US and European websites reveal that countries differ significantly in the importance they attach to reporting socially responsible behaviors, as well as the CSR issues they focused on. There is a lack of scholarship examining the content of what firms are actually saying to stakeholders, even though CSR research and social reporting on the internet has focused on the addressed groups and the types of messages directed to them. The following research question was posed: what is the content of issues within stakeholder groups that leading firms are addressing on their websites regarding corporate social responsibility? Websites were scanned for explicit or implicit statements regarding moral, ethical, legal, or social responsibilities to all internal or external constituencies. The information was then categorized by stakeholder. This was followed by a search and discovery of a specific number of interrelated themes. Finally, differences between U.S. firms and other global firms was explored among the themes and stakeholders. The results are very clear and well categorized for a variety of stakeholders: general value statements, environmental policies, customers, employees, stockholders, competitors, society. The results for each category are thoroughly discussed. The ways in which the most successful firms globally describe their corporate social responsibility on the World Wide Web are the broad result of the study. General value statements set the ethical tone for organizations' relationships with stakeholders and influence the content of CSR messages. Broad environmental policies flow naturally from these statements and are designed to inform various constituencies of firms commitment to the larger ecology as it intersects with their operations or marketplace. With regard to specific stakeholder groupings, three stand out as essential to the ultimate success of companies. They are customers, employees, and owners. Corporations operating on a worldwide basis use similar market management strategies regardless of their national location, and there's a significant interplay between the overall missions of organizations and their perceived corporate social responsibility. Finally, the consistency with which organizations promote the ethical standards of their positions and behaviors across messages and stakeholders is a noted result of the study. This research would be furthered by an examination of the degree to which these firms put into operation their corporate social responsibility, which they express on their websites. Additionally, how are stakeholders reacting to CSR messages? Are the messages influential and effective? Finally, while the present study shows a consistency in how organizations present CSR messages, it doesn't show the extent to which particular themes are representative across firms. Snyder, Hill, and Martin state that future study might employ content analysis, which have the ability to impose a quantitative rigor to qualitative data so that practitioners and researchers may know how often such messages are spread.